guys, welcome back to my channel and welcome to the 4th episode of Having Real Conversations. And today is a very special day because I am really joined with one of the friendships that were like super unexpected, but you know, it's a friendship that I'm really blessed with. Like, probably I'm gonna be grateful to this person for this whole lifetime. And for today's video, guys, who's gonna share a part of him, who's gonna share the deepest thoughts about him and the changes within him, let us welcome Tony Abud! Wait, actually I call him Antoine, but now he is called Tony by like a lot of people, so I don't know, what should I call you now, Antoine?
You can call me whatever you want. Usually growing up, people just called me like Antoine, Christian, Tony.
Yeah.
So I remember Miss Clemens Charmaine, if you remember, back in sophomore year of high school, she used to always say Christian. You know, she'd call me, and she was like the only person that I knew who called me Christian. So, whatever you prefer. Yeah,
I usually call you like Antoine or like something like that, like because we're really close, guys. Like, honestly, I think he's like one of the closest guys I had in high school. Like, no joke. Like, like, do you remember our first encounter?
I actually remember that very vividly, and it was like so weird because we actually met during what is it, like during the ITL, right?
No.
We met during.
I remember. Just tell the side of your story.
Or was it in the It was in the cafeteria, right? So we met first time we met was during the cafeteria, and so Charmaine actually went to school with me back in Dubai, right? We were in the same school. Yeah. So we'd go to the same school in Dubai, which was like really crazy. And fast forward like a couple years later, I had no idea like Charmaine left like Shoifat, Dubai, and she goes to Bahrain. But for some reason, like, we had each other on Facebook, right? Like we were each other's Facebook friends. And so this name Charmaine always popped up on my Facebook because like I used to play like a lot of games like Happy Island and like Pet Society and like those stupid ninja games, and I'd see like charmainepuno like #1, and I'm like, who is this friend I have on Facebook that's like #1 on all of the games that I play? Like, it was so weird, and it was so crazy. Like, the minute she told me, hey, like, my name is Charmaine, like, what's your name? I was like, no way, you're the Charmaine, the #1 Charmaine, and all of my Pet Society games, my Happy Island. It like blew my mind how like everything just like it just like came together, and I was like, what? Like, it was crazy, and that's how I got introduced to Charmaine, and God bless Facebook for kind of like setting that up.
Yeah. Okay, first of all, okay, I'm gonna give you guys the side of my story. Antoine and I went to the same school in Dubai. Okay, so then I always see this dude, like I know him by face because he was a cool kid. He was cool, very cool. So he would like always be around campus, and everyone knew him. He was this popular dude, and So anyways, my younger self, if I know this person by face, even though I'm not close to this person, I would add them on Facebook. I mean, am I the only one? Come on, guys. Am I the only one who does that? I don't think I'm the only one who does that. So anyways, so I have it on Facebook. And then one day I was like, I was in Bahrain. And I was just in the cafeteria, minding my own business. But everyone was saying this, oh, have you guys seen the new kid? And whatsoever. I was like, have you seen the new kid? I was like, who's the new kid? And then I see him with his brother, Nick. They were in the cafeteria, and I was like, oh my goodness, I think I know this person. And then, So I went up to her, I was like, hi, I'm Charmaine, how are you, and stuff like that. And then this person was like, you sound familiar, but who are you? I was like, this person doesn't know me. Like, we went to the same school. We probably said like hi a few times in Dubai, but I was like, okay, he's a cool kid, so he probably doesn't remember me. So I was like, okay, I'll just So anyways, that was the first encounter, but we weren't really close back then. I mean, the first year we got to know each other, we weren't really close, but throughout the years, as we grow older, we got really close. Like, we would tell each other not everything, but like most of the things. Like, if we have like problems when it comes to this and that you need the opposite sex opinion, then we would like call each other, and like, yeah, basically we're really close. That's the main thing here. So
yeah, that was pretty crazy. Yeah, to be honest, like Charmaine made me look really cool. I was like not even a cool kid. Like, if you see like my high school pictures, Charmaine, like maybe you can like pop something up, but like I had like a really crazy like afro.
This guy is trying to be humble, guys. Don't believe him. No. I swear, he has a lot of friends in high school. Like in Dubai, everyone is like, he's trying to be humble.
No.
So like, don't.
No, anyways, the point of that was when I saw Charmaine, it was mind-blowing because I was like, oh my goodness, like out of like all the Shoy Fats my parents could have picked, they picked the one in Bahrain where Charmaine was, and like when we met, like everything was just like yeah, it was just, my mind just exploded. I was like, how does that work like that?
That's true.
And it was just even crazier because I was like, this person like really annoyed me because like I couldn't like beat her in like any of my games, like Happy Island, Pet Society, like all of that, like Naruto, Ninja, and Dragon Ball Z games. Like, she was always number one, and I was like, dude, who is this person? Like, how do we know each other? And like I can't even beat her at anything. So so when I finally met her in person, I was just like shook.
Yeah, and
pretty cool story.
One thing that how would I describe our friendship? It's really a blessing. Like how everything worked out. I mean, we knew each other in Dubai, and then I moved to Bahrain. He moved to Bahrain. I mean, the chances, right? So I don't know about him, but for me, this, like, the friendship that we share is just so beautiful, and at the same time, it's just, I don't know, it's something special, It's, for me, it's something really special. This person, and so that's for the introduction, guys, because for today, Antoine and I would really talk about something deep in our hearts, and how I saw him, how I witnessed how he changed from season to season, from this person to another person, and I don't know, like, he's gonna share something very special. That's why I'm so grateful that he actually said yes. How I invited him to my series, he was like, yes, for sure, I'll do it, because it's something personal, very, very, very personal. It's a very personal story. How many times did I say personal? So you'll probably get the
like 7-8 times.
So it's really personal. It's really personal. So I just want to say thank you for being so open, and for really willing to really share your story, because today, guys, we're gonna be tackling how he found purpose, how he transitioned, how he changed as a person, how he grew as a person, and how his perspectives changed after this specific event in his life. So, do you want to start with anything, Antoine? Anything like how do you want to start this? How do you want to start your story?
Well, I mean, like, just some of what Charmaine was saying, just wanted to quickly add on. Charmaine, I mean, I'm really grateful to be here. It's been like a really long time since we caught up too. It's like maybe a couple of months. So like, this is actually like our first time like catching up in a while. So, pretty exciting. Just some of the things you said, like, it is a personal story, and like, kind of little nervous, a little shy sharing it because yeah, I don't know, just never really kind of like did anything like this, like to just publicly tell people how I kind of like transitioned over. So yeah, just excited overall to kind of like walk you guys through that.
Yeah, so maybe to start off, you know, our topic, maybe you could share with us how were you, like what was your perspective with life, with the world, and how were you as a person before, you know, finding your purpose?
Yeah, that's a good question. I mean, to me, growing up, I was really used to the standards of what the world told me that I needed to be. And what I'm talking about was mostly like, hey, like, you gotta grow up, you know, one day you're gonna graduate. And after you graduate, you need to get a job. And once you get a job, you need to make some money. Once you make some money, you need to save that, you know, start a family and live a really like successful and comfortable life. And to me, like, yeah, that was the kind of norms that people had to follow, right? Like, you know, you got to do big in life. You got to be successful. It's about like the money, the wealth, living every day like there's no tomorrow. And that really like got to me. So coming to college, I was like super ambitious, right? I was super ambitious. Purpose to me looked like doing well in school academically. I wanted to do my best, wanted to just make a name for myself. I came all the way to the US, so I just really wanted to give it my all and just be successful. So yeah, that was like purpose to me and what that looked like actually before like my whole transition over to finding like what actual purpose means like.
What was your definition of the worldly things, the things that, you know, you thought, I don't know, your before values, you know what I mean? Like what?
Yeah. Yeah, I think to me, I valued, yeah, like, it's crazy because like coming to the US, I think I found purpose in like all the wrong places. And yeah, I ended up like struggling a lot, you know, just having to put up like an image before others and, you know, thinking like I'm all well off and I'm a put together person when in reality, like actually like, yeah, like I'm not that awesome as I thought I was, right? Or I'm not as put together as I thought I was. And yeah, my values really just placed that in that idea of like living successfully, having like a lot of money. Yeah, one of like my main like values and like what I really like idolized back then was like romance, like just finding someone to be with and kind of like, yeah, just finding that person to kind of like do life together with. So yeah, that was like a lot of the purposes that a lot of the values that I held on to really dearly before.
Yeah, and I guess all of us we come into like this season of our lives that we feel that we have everything, we have everything, you know, all set up for us, and I don't know how to explain it, but I guess there would be times in our lives that we feel that we have everything figured out, and well, there's like, you know, as what other people said, there's nothing to think about because we eat 3 times a day, we were living comfortably, we have shelter, you know what I mean? But there would always be this missing piece in our lives. Like we feel like we have everything together, but at the same time there's something missing. And that's when you search for something within you, like what's this missing piece? Is this in romance?
Yeah.
Would the person fix me? Would the person complete me? Would this thing complete me if I would gain a lot of money, a lot of fame, a lot of popularity? Would it give me joy? I'm not saying that, okay, materialistic things won't give us joy, because it would give us joy. But the question is, how long would that thing give you joy? Are we talking here short term or long term? What's this purpose? Like, where did you find this purpose? How did you change as a person?
Yeah, and I think like Charmaine and I, we haven't really said it. So like for the people who's like wondering like what this purpose or like what I'm trying to like say is that actually Charmaine kind of like spoke about it a little bit. You know, she's saying how, yeah, I kind of like had, and like I mentioned that, like I had a lot of my purpose in the wrong places. And that was actually one of the reasons to why I started trying to go on this whole phase of like just investigating like reality, investigating truth, investigating like, is there more than just the physical? And during this time of like finding my purpose, I was going to a church, and how I even like found this church was a complete random coincidence to where I was just playing football one day on the turf field, and just one, like his name is Pablo, but he's my mentor right now, and he reached out to me and he's like, hey, like we're playing like American football, like do you want to like play with us, or like do you want to like, you know, join in the game? And I was like, hey, like I don't know how to play, like I'm good, so I'm gonna like, I was like about to leave, and he was like, no, like we'll teach you, like don't worry about it. And I was like, this was after like a long game of football, but I was like, sure, like why not, like let me learn a new sport. So I came into this group, and that's how I initially got introduced to the fellowship, the church, and yeah, you know, like started like going more often. Every week, Friday they had Bible study, Sunday was Sunday service, and to me it was just really trying to look for what's really out there, because I feel like just the values and some of the things that I was holding on to just made me really thirst for truth, made me really thirst for just reality in general. And this led to a point where I actually started to take Christianity seriously. I started to investigate it, started to read the Bible, and yeah, just really see like what this gospel or what this Bible had for me. And turned out it like I took like a whole course trying to learn like Christianity, and it was called Course 101. It was like foundations about Christianity, and it really like changed my life, like really like showed me like what Christianity is. And a lot of people have this misconception like it's like political religions like this and that and this, but like, you know, to be honest, it's like none of that. It's just you have a relationship with God, and it's just how are you going to relate with him. And it's like it's really like a love story that people really need to, yeah, I mean like it changed my life. I think I view a lot of the things differently, and yeah, just to be a part of like that love story, just to put my purpose into something that's like concrete, like God, yeah, it just really changed my life. And yeah, I kind of like saw purpose differently. I saw purpose like living my whole life and like transitioning over to living for like God and just that kind of purpose. So yeah, a lot there, Charmaine. I'm sorry if I went on like a tangent.
Thank you for sharing that. And just, I mean, Antoine already Antoine knows this, but because I go to church in Bahrain, so there was this time that there was an event. There was an event in our church, okay, and then we were encouraged to invite someone who God is impressing to us. Like we were like praying for a person that we would want to invite to this event. Okay, so Antoine's name popped into my head, but I was like, no, I mean, I know Antoine. I don't think this is his cup of tea. I don't think like he's gonna be into this, because I know him, and because I know him again, like I don't think he's gonna say yes to this. So, but I was like, something's like pushing me on like just telling him, inviting him, just worth a shot, because I was afraid. Honestly, I'm sorry. Okay, I was so afraid. I was so afraid of like inviting this person. It's probably gonna like it would affect our friendship, how he sees me, our closeness. He might be awkward in after asking him to come to this event. So so I was like, no, I don't think so. Maybe another person, like, you know. But at the end, I was like, okay, whatever. I just can't sleep. I can't, it won't go out of my mind. Like, I need to just invite this person. So then I was like, okay, whatever's gonna happen to our friendship, what's important is I invited him. Like, nothing, I'm not gonna lose anything. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna invite him. Long story short, I invited him. And then he said yes. I was like, what? He said yes? That's like so new. I honestly, I did not expect him to say yes. So he was like, yeah, sure, I can go and stuff like that. I was like, what? Antoine? In church? With me? I was like, I'm not judging him, but like,
but she was judging.
I might have judged him. No. But
I'm kidding.
I thought it wasn't really his cup of tea. So then I invited him, even though I was scared that something was gonna happen to our friendship and closeness. I just took courage, and he went to the event. He finished the event and everything, and it was just a one-time thing. Honestly, it was just a one-time thing, and then it finished. And then after that, just, I got relaxed. I wasn't thinking about it anymore. And then, we graduated from high school. We were in college. I went back to the Philippines. I went to the US. And I wasn't really thinking about it. I was like, okay, how's Antoine? We would like catch up and, just catch up with one another. He wasn't mentioning anything to me. And then just one day, literally just one day, he talked to me. He called me and he talked to me. He's like, Charmaine, this has been happening. And then I got connected to it. I was like, literally, I'm not even exaggerating, but I got goosebumps everywhere. Like, this, I did not expect this person to be connected to a church, but at the same time I got goosebumps, and I don't know, I just started crying. Remember, I just started crying.
I remember asking you, like, why are you crying?
Yeah, I started crying because I was just so overwhelmed, and I was so sorry. I honestly, at that, after we talked, I was just praying to God. I really prayed this prayer. I was like, Lord, I'm sorry if, like, I didn't think it was possible. I didn't think that you would do something and stuff like that. But that is when I was reminded that just do what you can and let God work, like the rest. Surrender everything to Him. So, like, if you have someone in person that you want to really invite to church or invite to an event or anywhere that, God has been speaking to you in a different level to invite, don't take any second thoughts because you are planting a seed. So this guy, when we had that conversation, he was just laughing and I'm crying and he's just laughing for like,
yeah,
like, hello, I'm trying to be, so deep here, and then you're just laughing over there. I was like, okay, but
because I remember I was like so confused. I was like, why are you crying? Like, I thought this was good news, and then like later, like, I find out like it was tears of joy.
Yeah, I was just really, really happy. Yeah. It was a feeling that I couldn't describe. So all this time, God has a plan. Like, that's why He was put at my heart, like in my head. I couldn't sleep without inviting this person to church, and then there was a purpose. He had a plan, and I don't know, like, going back, how I see Antoine really changed. I couldn't have imagined. That's why they always really say, when it comes to God, expect the unexpected. Because honestly, guys, it was very unexpected. Like,
yeah, and just to give you, Charmaine, just to give you like some like my point of view or like my perspective, because then like Charmaine kind of like took you through all of that, like, so pretty much like Charmaine like made it seem like my high school days I was like Satan's kid. I feel like I was
no, he wasn't.
No way, Antoine would never go to church. Like, like wait, just real quick. So I used to go to like a Catholic church, and so my intentions, just real quick, I mean, I love my parents, so the only reason to why I went to Catholic church and did all of that was because, like, I'm not gonna tell my parents, like, hey mom, hey dad, like, I don't want to do church, you know, like, I'm done. Like, even though, like, back then I really didn't care about, like, God or like Christianity or just being spiritual in general, like, I just did, just because, like, I didn't want to disappoint my parents. Like, I really loved them a lot, so I went to church with them. So this phase was during when I continued, like, yeah, when I was just like this, like, guy who didn't even care about, like, God or whatever. And like, you know, Catholic church, it was like really like mellow, and Charmaine like invites me to her church, and like, to me, I'm like, church, like, out of like all the things you want to invite me,
That's my point.
You want me to go with you to church? Like, sure. Like, you know, I was like, my face, I was like, okay. But like, yeah, Charmaine's like a really close friend of mine, and like, you know, like, I'm not gonna be like, don't take me to church, like, let's go to, like, you know, let's go to a party. Like, nah, I was just like, I told her, okay, like, let's go to church. Like, as weird as that sounds, like, I was like, okay, I'll go with you to church. Like, let's see, like, let's see what will happen. And actually, like, I actually remember, like, crying. Like, this was like during a time of like where I expected like nothing from like going with Charmaine to like church. I remember like one part of like the song, I think it was like Amazing Grace or something, and for some reason I like, even though like I'm pretty sure like I didn't even understand like what the lyrics were, but yeah, I just started crying. And
I started crying. I saw this guy.
Yeah, no, cause like it's just so crazy. Yeah. Like it really showed like just where I was, like at a place where I was just really hungry for finding purpose, that I was just pouring myself into like everything and anything. And the one time where I felt closest to God, the one time where I've truly learned what it means to just relate with him, I really felt like satisfied. Like I felt like I could rest. I felt like this is purpose to me. And yeah, like Charmaine was saying, like, who knows, maybe that was the thing, like that she planted the seed that led me like being even open to consider like Christianity, or even like learn about like, you know, God and all of that. Because like I remember like freshman year of college, like when I found out that that group was a church group, I was like, church group? Like, there is no way I'm gonna go there. Like, that's like, and it's like, so they do a lot of college ministry. I was like, dude, this is whack. Like, these Christian freaks, like, nah, I'm good. Like, I did that, like, my whole life, and I'm in the US, and I'm gonna do whatever I want. And yeah, God just had other plans for me, and I ended up being as close as I ever am with God, which is like so weird, because
yeah. So I think the next thing that we want to tackle, or I want to personally ask you, was what made you follow Christ, or what made you start a relationship with Christ?
What made me yeah, I mean, there was a lot of like factors to what made me want to kind of like push over to like live my whole life for God and like live my whole life for Christ. Was, I think what really like pushed me was I've been really trying to study and understand the character of Jesus. And you know, in the Bible you just see what kind of person he was. You see like why he had to come down on the cross. And there's this like really like big misunderstanding, you know, when it comes to like the word like sin. Like there's like a really big like a huge stigma around that. Oh, like yeah, why is like Christianity like all about like sin and like, you know, like being like, yeah, like all that stuff. But you know, like when you look at sin, like sin technically means like it's your like rejection from God. It's like your sin is like the fundamental aspect of sin is like you rejecting God. Like that is like what sin is. And then from that is that
and what separate you from God.
Exactly.
What really, it's the real thing why you and God are being separated.
Exactly, and that's sin. And when I learned more about like what sin is and what it meant, I started to learn more about Jesus and what he did to cover like the sins that, you know, I've committed, to like not only to like, you know, the sins that I've done, but the sins that I've also like the sins that caused other people to be hurt because of my own actions. And I started to learn more about Jesus. I started to learn just his character, and I found out that there's like a lot of love in like the gospel. And basically the gospel means it means the good news. And I really wanted to understand like how like a God could send his one and only son down to die on the cross for us. Like that to me just like that just amazed me. Like, yeah, like why would he do that, right? And like why would he even like care to like come down here and relate with like us? Like could he just like, you know, just like do whatever he wants? Like why like bother with us? Like we're such like fragile beings. But I really wanted to like understand that and really try to comprehend like why Jesus had to come down here. And you know, as simple as it is, like the answer is because like he loved us. Like he loved us so much that, you know, this is like, I mean, Charmaine, you probably heard this so many times, like John 3:16, right? Like he loved us so much that he wanted to send his one and only son to die on the cross for our sins so that we may be forgiven and that we may be able to relate with him like forever. And forever, I'm talking about like when we die, so when we go to heaven. And I really wanted to have people kind of like understand that, kind of like experience that, because through my like leap of faith of like trusting in God and just living my life for him, I've just experienced like so much joy. I've experienced like a life of such abundance. Like I'm that type of guy who just, yeah, sometimes I know like people think I'm extroverted, but like, yeah, I just want to be like left alone. I want to do like my own thing. I just want to like, yeah, live my life the way I want it to. But yeah, like now like doing this leap over to Christ, I've experienced so much more than my own selfish ambitions. I've experienced true life. I have been privileged to speak in front of a lot of recovering addicts and a lot of like homeless people who are sheltered through this non-profit organization called Salvation Army. And on Valentine's Day, instead of like, yeah, like you'd think the norm, right? Instead of like going out on a date or like asking someone, yeah, like could you be my Valentine, and then let's like make it all like nice and romantic and go out. Like I actually spent like my whole Valentine's Day trying to prepare a whole program for those recovering addicts and a lot of the people there who were struggling with alcohol and drugs. And we ended up making a huge program for them. And it was just so crazy to me, like how just to be part of something like so meaningful, to be part of something so special. And there's like countless of experiences like that I can tell you all about. But I think to me, what it came down was, this is the kind of life that brings me so much joy. And this kind of love that I've experienced finally told myself that, hey, like I'm like, this is like enough. Like I'm that type of guy who always just wants to search for like what's more, like what's out there. Like give me an experience, but know that all that I try to get, it wouldn't suffice. Yeah, and I just wouldn't be satisfied. But I just look at God, I look at the cross, I looked at what he's done for me, and for once in my life, like I feel satisfied, and it's a really good feeling. And yeah, and I was like, hey, like this is like pretty new to me, this is scary, but I'm gonna trust and make my decision to actually like become a Christian. And pretty much what a Christian means is to like walk with God, to like follow Christ. And yeah, had no regrets ever since. So
I'm so happy for you. I'm really, really happy for you. And at the same time, when you mentioned about the character of God, honestly, there would be multiple times that I would also like think about really hard about God's love for us. I mean, there would be like several times I was like, like why would he do that? Like, we were sinners, and he doesn't even have the assurance that if he sent his one and only son to save us, he did not even have the assurance that people would actually follow him and accept him as their personal Lord and Savior. But why did he like do that, regardless of he wasn't sure of?
Mm-hmm.
And everyone was just rebelling against him, doing things that could hurt him. We were hurting him and like different levels. But why? I keep asking myself that. I was like, why? But whenever I have those questions, God will always impress with me. That's how much I love you. And that's like the most beautiful love I've ever experienced in this lifetime. And maybe there are multiple times that like I was in the same situation as Antoine. I did not grow up loving God. I mean, I was a teenager when I really started a relationship with Christ as well. And I was doing okay with life, but there was something missing, and I found that missing piece in Christ. And yeah, so even though after these years of walking and having a relationship with him, there would always be instances why. And I guess I was just really reminded how much he loves us individually, and he is a personal God, that he knows every detail about you. And I think that's like so beautiful, that's so mind-blowing, that I'm just a normal person. I'm a person with a lot of mistakes. I'm this person that did this and that, but regardless of that, you're still willing to save someone like me. I mean, where would you like find another kind of love like that, right? Like, I don't know. Like, I could like still go on forever telling you how's the character of God. But I guess I would also want to ask Antoine, like, what's the biggest lesson or like the biggest change that you've encountered throughout your journey of finding your purpose, finding God, starting a relationship with him, knowing him in a very personal level?
Yeah, this question, like, really, I've really asked myself that a lot of times. And just one thing that really like hits me every time, just like it reminds me that before like I started considering Christianity, before I started investigating, like, hey, like, is Christianity even legit? Like, did the cross actually happen? Is Jesus like who he claims he is, like, or is this like all a certain kind of myth? And once I started investigating all of that, and I started seeing that there's actual like concrete evidence that can prove you the resurrection and can show you when in the past and in history that these events actually took place, I started like thinking about it really differently, because I started to understand the message of, now that the claims were true, now that all the evidence was there, I started to look at the message at the gospel. And if you think like that you're like this put together person, if you think that you have it all together, then it's going to be really hard for you to see like why you would need the gospel. And that was my testimony, that was my story, because growing up, I thought I was a really good guy. I mean, I thought I was on everyone's good side. I try to be on everyone's side. I was a people pleaser. Loved people, loved to make people happy, loved to hear people's laughs. That's something that brought me a lot of joy, just seeing people smile. And I thought I was a good guy. I thought I was a put together person. I thought everybody loved me. But then I started to learn about the gospel, and I started to realize, like, wait a minute, like, that's not the case. Like, I thought I viewed myself as this really like high person, as a really like put together person, but in reality, like, deep down in my heart, like, I struggled with so much. Like, I struggled with my ego, like with my pride. I was envious, you know, I fell into like different temptations like lust and just like alcohol and drugs and all of that. And I started to look at myself and I was like, man, like there's so much that I've done in the past that has hurt so many people. My mom, my brother Nick, my younger brother Gabriel, like my dad. And when I started to realize this and when I started to reflect really deeply, I was like, man, like this image that I had, like this person, this picture that I had of myself, I told myself like, man, I'm actually pretty lame. Like there's like nothing special about me, you know, like this person who I thought like, yeah, like I'm this cool guy, everyone like knows me, right? Like no, that was not the case. Deep down, like I was this broken person. And when I realized that, I was feeling kind of like desperate. I was feeling kind of like a little scared. And but then like, yeah, all these feelings that I had kind of like cleared up, kind of like flew away, because like I looked at the cross and I just felt secure in that despite my sin, despite, you know, my ego and just who I am as a person, like this like messed up person who thinks he's a good guy, but in the inside he actually like, yeah, like pushes people to the side because maybe that like, yeah, like just it's forever, right? It's just so like kind of like a selfish ambition, like do what you want to do in order for you to advance yourself. And I looked at this person and I was like, man, like how could God like love, like how could God love me? And that really scared me. But then it kind of goes back to what Charmaine was saying, that despite your brokenness, despite like your sin, that there is someone out there, and like whoever you are on the other end of the camera, like there's someone out there who can unconditionally, fully and wholeheartedly love you for your brokenness, for your flaws, for like the good things you do, for like everything that you like, everything about you, all the things that you don't like and all the things that you do like. There's a person that loves you like so much. And that really like stood out to me, and I told myself like I want to be a part of that. And all you have to do, right, is just believe that, hey, like that Jesus is the person that he says he is, that he actually came down and like died on the cross for your sins, because we couldn't bear that, right? Like if we were to bear all of that, like, yeah, like we just couldn't, like the pain and all the suffering that we caused to our families, to our friends, to ourselves, like we can't bear that. But hey, there's someone who did, and that was Jesus. And all we gotta do is just believe and just come before him with just honesty, like, hey God, like I'm a sinner, but that's okay, because there's your cross and I can rest on that. I can rest on your grace, on your mercy and your love. And yeah, that kind of like pushed me to Christianity, and I was like, dude, this is pretty awesome. This is a really cool story. And ever since then, you know, I've been just trying to like live out my faith and just try to be a good witness.
Yeah, I mean, that's really amazing. Like, you know, whenever I hear Antoine really just talk about his faith, talk about his relationship with Christ, I can't help but just be amazed by God's grace and goodness. Like that's honestly insane. I mean, that's just so mind-blowing that, you know, like Antoine have really changed a lot. And I believe that another solid evidence, like one of the many solid evidences of God's existence, is honestly a transformed life. How you change, how you encountered God, your testimony, that's one of the solid evidences that God is real, that God is living.
Amen.
And that's, I don't know, I'm always thankful to God. I was like, God, thank you, because you are using your people, how you change people, to see how great you are, how loving you are with us, that despite of who we are, despite of what we did or what we're doing and what we're about to do, you love us regardless of that. And not only does he accept you and welcome you back to his arms, but he is willing to change you after his own heart. It's not, we're not just, we're just not saying here that, oh, we know Christ, we're perfect Christians and whatsoever. No, we're not like that. But we are Christians and we know we are broken people needing of a perfect God. Just being able to know him and starting a relationship with him, that's grace. That's really grace. And whenever I hear people sharing their testimonies, their personal testimonies, I know there are some things that are very personal to each and one of us, like what we were before Christ and what really God is had dealt with us, or even is currently dealing with us. That courage to step out in faith and share how he changed you, and just, it's something beautiful. And honestly, for me, that's a solid evidence that God is real. But I guess that's why I always tell people, I know that you won't believe me 100%. Like, hello, I'm a person, I sin, I'm an imperfect person, and I know that you're not gonna believe whatever I say. Like, no way you're gonna believe 100% I'm gonna say to you, because that's just human nature. Like, hello, okay, I'm gonna literally have a stranger on the phone telling me, okay, this is God and this is how he loves you and blah 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 blah. Of course I'm not gonna totally believe this person, because I've never met this person. This person is a stranger. So why would I believe this person? That's why I always tell people, I could tell you 100 stories really to how God loves you, yet won't really receive it or won't really believe it, because it's just human nature. That's why I always challenge people. You can't find something that you're not even searching for, or you not willing to look for, because really you are loved by someone who died just to know you and have a relationship with you. You are loved more than you will ever know, really. And wow, thank you, Antoine, again for really sharing a very personal, and I know that people would actually look at us, oh, that's so weird, I don't think that's real, maybe they're making things up, but I mean,
okay, that's the gospel, man.
Yeah, we're sharing our personal stories with you, how we were just the process of finding purpose. And thank you, Antoine, for stepping out in faith and really having the courage to share your very, very, I don't know how, I know I said this a lot of times, but very personal story. And yeah, I'm just so grateful, and I am beyond blessed to be able to see how he changed 180 degrees. It's insane how he is right now, how he is, his growth, his development. It's really mind-blowing. I can't even fully express, wow, that's God working in and through him. And I believe that we're always on the process of becoming people after his own heart. But yeah, I honestly, I'm very encouraged by Antoine's story, and I would always thank him for saying yes to this episode. I know it's very late in the US. It's currently maybe 3 p.m., 2:16 p.m. in the Philippines, but there it's 11:16 p.m. It's really night. I mean, thank you for making the time. Thank you.
It's my pleasure. It's my pleasure.
Thank you. Any final words that you want to, share with them?
Okay, so final words. Okay, I know Charmaine has been yeah, she was just praising me and all that stuff, which is yeah, really weird. Sometimes I get awkward when people are praising me, and I'm just there, I'm cool, thanks. But yeah, those were very sweet words, Charmaine. Very thankful for you as well. But yeah, if I could just say like one final thing, like yeah, like when people look at Christians, like oh, like yeah, Charmaine was like yeah, he made like a 180 change, but you know, like if you know me, like I'm still like the same Antoine, I'm still the same Tony that you knew 4 years ago. But what's different this time is that this time I have purpose. This time I have direction. This time I have a meaning to live my life. And yeah, like don't think like I'm brainwashed, like oh, like Tony is like Christian now, like we can't like talk to him or anything. Like no, like yeah, I'm still that same guy that loves to bring you guys a lot of joy. But I guess for now, what's different is, yeah, what was I saying like previously? Like, hey, like I have a purpose now, and yeah, and yeah, I just wanted to like, yeah, like let you guys know, like Christians, like I know like they can really like rub people off the wrong way. It's because like yeah, like they like. Yeah, like, yeah, I mean, I'm sure you've met, like, a lot of people who say that they're Christian, yet, like, live their lives as if, like... They're not. So, yeah, I guess, like, if I could say, like, one final thing is that, yeah, I mean, like, Christian life, it's really hard. Like, even though Charmaine says, like, I've changed, like, I still fight, like, the good fight every day. Like, I still fight,
every
like...
single day.
Yeah, and it's really not easy. And yeah, I guess like my prayer is that no matter like what happens like in my life, that I would continuously just to like hold on to God and yeah, just really be reminded to why I made this decision, to why like I wanted to like live my life for Him. And that's because there's someone out there who really wants to relate with me, and I made that my mission to kind of like show that kind of love and show that kind of relationship to others. So it's not easy, and a lot of people actually like give off bad vibes doing it, and like it's like some ways like you could question them because like that's not biblical, like forcing people, like that's not biblical at all. It's just like a love, a perfect love that God has given us. And yeah, like people just make it complicated, but I guess I'm trying to say it's like, yeah, it's really not complicated. It's like if you're in a place where you're interested, or if you're in a place where you'd want to learn more, like just like go read the Bible online. It's like free. And yeah, that's all I have to say.
Yeah. And I must agree with Antoine that Christianity is not easy at all. Like, we battle, guys, the amount of temptations that we battle. You know, every day is a battlefield.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
every day is a fight.
Single day. But something I would want to share with you guys, it's a fight worth fighting for. It's a battle worth fighting for.
Mm-hmm.
You know, fighting for God, fighting for your faith. It's more than worth it. So yeah, I just want to wrap this up. That's it for the 4th episode of Having Real Conversations, and we would just want to thank you guys for listening or even watching our episode. And we are thankful that, you know, if you're still listening at this point, then congrats. I mean, this is a very long video cast, I must say. I don't know, but yeah. Thank you again, Antoine, for joining me for this episode.
Of course,
and
it's my pleasure.
Thank you guys for watching and listening to us. Bye!
How do you say bye? You're just like, bye.
Yeah, say bye. Okay.